You've tuned into The Mountain Gardener with your host, Ken Lane. Gardening, it can be challenging, but with these simple insider tips, you'll reap huge rewards. Now, let's tune into today's Mountain Gardener with Ken and Lisa. And welcome to this week's edition of The Mountain Gardener, your host, Ken Lane, every week talking about the landscapes of northern Arizona. And let's see, this week it is summer now officially. So it's kind of nice. It's my favorite season. I know some of you love winter. Some love your spring flowers. I love the heat, the outdoor activities, the swimming, all the boating, all the travel time, the downtime, everything about summer. I love. It started, I think, when I was a kid. The family would get in a station wagon and log like 3-4 weeks as they drove around the country. We drove from Virginia to Canada to Wyoming to New Mexico and all the way back in one trip. And so just kind of I have fond memories of that. Whole family, my brother, my sister, whole family. It was just camping, a lot of camping. And so I'm drawn to summer. Some of your plants are the same way. They love, 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 love summer. They love the heat. They love the community. They love getting in the station wagon and driving around the country with you. They just love everything about summer. And so you're seeing plants right now, your golden locust or honey locust. It's a yellow tree. It's got real small leaves. So locust, anytime you hear the word locust, you know you got a strong tree. The reason being they got small leaves, and so they just don't perspire. They don't lose a lot of moisture out of their leaves, and they don't get wind damage. So the smaller the leaf, the more they tend to not get torn or ripped. And so some of these great big leaves, like a sycamore or a big maple, especially red maples, like Acer rubrum, the one that's in the East Coast, it can tend to be wind torn, especially when it's small. It's exposed. Once it gets large enough, it starts to protect itself. And so the autumn blaze maple, that's the preferred one that we sell here at Watters Garden Center because it's a big leaf maple. It's the fastest growing of all the red maples. It's a true shade tree. I mean, it gets fast right now. And so, but it does not get leaf tear. So wind whipped. It doesn't get that wind rock, you kind of going through the leaves, ruckus through the canopy, and then tearing the leaves when it's young. It doesn't do that. It's got more scariated, more indentations. There's something about the leaf that just releases all that energy from the wind. And so it's a better tree. Yes, other maples will grow here, but you don't just want any, you want the best one. If you want a fast-growing red maple, that's the one. Fast-growing yellow-leafed maple is going to be silver maple. They're both the same. In fact, they're crossed. They're actually cousins of each other. That's a good, strong tree. I think that's part of the reason that Populus tremuloides, trembling leaf poplar, also called aspen. So an aspen, the reason that it takes our wind so incredibly well, because the leaf kind of trembles. So it releases all that energy. So the wind never gets a chance to rip the leaves in two. So it's a much preferred tree for that reason. Birch is another tree that's very much like that. It's got the white bark of an aspen. It's actually, I find, more drought hardy. It's tougher. So in the same landscape, one tree, an aspen, the whole bed is like stressed out, and the aspens will actually get stressed out more than the birch will. And so I think there's a root structure there, something about it, and the wind. So a birch has a similar leaf to an aspen, but kind of more elongated, but it's got serrated edges, whereas an aspen has a very rounded edge. So the way it releases all that energy from a windstorm is it just trembles, whereas a birch has got more serrated edges, so just kind of the wind just kind of goes through it and doesn't let it get torn up. And so you kind of want to think in those terms. If you just go to your box store and just grab whatever because it was cheap, well, it might not be the right one for your backyard, and you don't know until you're like 3 years, 4 years, 5 years into this. You're going, I don't know what happened. I'm going, well, yeah, you wasted 5 years of your life trying to grow this stupid tree that should have never been sold up here in this marketplace to begin with. I feel better. Thanks for letting me vent like that. I appreciate that. So many things I'm embarrassed sometimes. Just go, no, that should not be sold out of a warehouse. They should not have that. There's no way they're going to take that to their backyard and give it alkaline water, bright sunshine, altitude, and some wind. And then we've got this super dry right now. So you've got virtually 0% humidity. And so, and we don't have monsoons coming for another 2-3 weeks. I mean, I'm looking at it right now, that monsoonal pattern, it's over Houston. It's not even at Dallas yet. It's over Houston. So it's got at least 2 to 3 weeks before it gets to us. So it's early July before we see the summer rains coming our way. And you can almost track the storms as it comes out of Mexico and starts that monsoonal rain pattern. Well, you've got to get plants to survive to just limp through until then. And once the rains come, the pressure's off. So the clouds come, humidity increases. It's a whole nother planting season, a whole nother growing season. Fertilize right before the rains come. And whoa, watch those. You have a shade tree, you want to get some girth on it, it's a real size, it's brand new. You fertilize it again the end of this month, first part of July, and woof, you can get a whole other set of growth on those plants. Vines, if you had a vine, you put some trumpet vines or honeysuckles, and you're trying to cover up a fence, fertilize it at the end of this month, first part of July, right before the rains come, and you can just ignite those things for a whole nother set of growing season. Roses, they've been in bloom. They're starting to they're starting to fade. So you need to deadhead those, get the old spent flowers, fertilized the end of this month, first part of July, and they will have, by the end of July, 1st of August, they will just be covered. They'll be more glorious than even the spring season. It's all about timing. So you just deadhead, fertilize the end of this month, and you will have some of the best flowers of the season, the most fragrance of the season, the second half of the growing season. Roses like to bloom then. And here's the real reason: the bugs aren't out. So right now we've got thrip. If you've been out in the gardens, if you feel something biting you, what the heck, what is going on? And something's biting your skin, you don't see anything. That is a thrip, also called a no-see-em, because they're so tiny, you can't see the doggone things, but you can sure feel them. And they were terrible this week in my gardens. In fact, I think I'm going to hose down the whole yard with a bug killer. I think I'm going to hose down the whole thing because I'm tired of those things biting me. The dog water, you could see dust floating on top of the water. Those were all thrip. I think it's dry or something. I don't know why they all hatched now, and they're mean. They're biting you. They also get into your roses. We mentioned roses. They'll get inside the rose bud, and it looks as though someone has taken a Bic lighter or blackened the petals. There's only one thing that will cause that, and it is thrip, T-H-R-I-P. Google it. So thrip are, and once they get inside of that flower, there's no way to, you could use some systemic, there's a food with some systemic bug repellent in it. So rose food with systemic is what the name is. You could use some of that, but once the damage starts, there's no way to really recover. Hopefully it's not so bad that they don't open. They just shrivel and die on the vine, basically, or on the stem of the rose. But that's a tough one. Well, the second half of the year, we don't have thrip. We don't have aphids. We just have beautiful roses and nothing to eat them. So the pressure's off. There's some mildew, some other things to watch for, but basically second half, super easy. So anyway, timing is everything. Trees, going back to trees, it's a good time to plant trees. If you're going to plant a tree, go for it. You're good. Make sure you plant it. Just make sure you are staking your trees right now, so that you will get some wind. We get that prevailing southwest wind. It blows all the time, nonstop. It's just always kind of a breeze going through, which is kind of nice. But these plants, they've all leafed out now. And so they're catching every bit of that wind. And so they start to, this unrelenting southwest wind gets those trees to start leaning to the northeast. And so you'll just see in your neighborhood, you can see which trees weren't staked and which ones were. They're all leaning to a certain way. This is really critical for fruit trees. You could put fruit trees, apples in right now, peaches, cherries, apricots, nectarines, plums. You can put them all in right now. But you just need to make sure you stake them, or they'll start leaning to the northeast, and they'll load up next spring with all the, 200 pounds of fruit, 200 pounds of apricots. All of a sudden it just falls over because it's leaning. You want to make sure those fruit trees are perfectly straight, and that we groom the scaffolding, so to speak, the way the branches go to anyway. We've got a lot in store. I could keep going on and on. I got another rest of the hour to go. Let me get a commercial break in. We'll be right back with Lisa Watters Lain with your garden questions right after this. Watters garden companion plants for June are sunburst locust, moonshine yarrow, silverberry, and Hall's honeysuckle.
Ideal at growing up fences, walls, or as a ground cover.
Wind, drought, deer, javelina are no problem.
Hall's honeysuckle is an outstanding mountain vine with fragrant yellow flowers that loves blooming in the summer heat.
An excellent solution for fast-growing screen, even in the poorest of soil.
You'll only find the hardiest vines at Watters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott.
And we are back with Lisa Watters Lain in the studio. She comes each week with garden questions coming in from around Arizona. Just you can learn something from your neighbors. So gardening is all about social, connecting, advice. So Lisa, welcome back to the Mountain Gardener.
Thank you.
Yeah,
good to be back.
Tag team, Mountain Gardeners. So Lisa's raised in the business. Kind of, you've done this for your entire life, all 30-something, 40-something, 50. Anyway, we've been married for 36 years. You can do a little bit of math there. So, but this is about
gardening.
Now. What are people asking or doing or saying?
Sure. So been a lot of watering questions,
as
you can imagine, because we kind of get into the heat of summer, and it's a challenge to figure those all out. But Lynn says she was in and she was told she was overwatering because she was getting leaf spot and black spot and powdery mildew. She said, I didn't think it was possible to overwater in the wintertime. But that's what's really causing the problems? What should I be watering? So many questions.
So watering, so it depends on what it is.
True.
So some things like daily watering. Your trees and shrubs and vines, they hate it. Your roses, they despise it. They'll wilt and wither and talk, and they'll talk back to you. Mm-hmm. And the way that plants talk back when they're overwatered is they'll get kind of wilty. They'll look like they are underwatered, and the leaves will start turning yellow. That's a secret. And then the insides, bottom leaves can sometimes get spotting, or you'll see yellowing with spots on it, or the tips will turn brown. These are all indications of, I can't breathe. I'm suffocating. The life is draining from my veins. Please stop watering. And so things that we've seen this week is lots of vines. So honeysuckle, things with dense foliage. See, plants have a way of protecting themselves. So they shade their own root structure. They actually will cool the temperature around their body, have a way of changing their environment. And that's why we plant trees. That's why we plant shade trees, because trees are just a big glorified version of a honeysuckle that shades bigger areas of their surrounding to cool it down. So a tree can cool down their environment by 10 to 15 degrees. It's dramatic. I mean, it's not just the shade. They're physically changing. They're adding humidity. They're reflecting the sun. They're changing the wind. They're doing this knowing what they're doing. They're smart. Plants give them more credit. They know what they're doing. But what they need is to breathe at their roots. And so if you're watering every day your rose tree, your rose bush, your vines, your big shrubs, red tip photinia, they're going to tell you. And they're gonna cry out, going, please let me breathe at my roots. And so I would say right now, your trees and shrubs, give them a deep soak. Yeah, once a week. It's plenty. I know it's 95 and you are so hot, but they're not. They're basically hanging out. They're changing their environment. It's like you going out to your covered patio and you're just enjoying the shade, watching the sunset. That's what they're doing out in the yard in full sun. They're changing their environment so it's cooler for them. They're shading their roots so the roots don't get sunburned. And so they're changing their environment. So if you go out every day and water your rosemary, it's going to not be happy. So I say back off some. Now, that's just with your flowering, your container gardens, your hanging baskets, your tomato plants, different. These are short, shallow-rooted plants that are producing heavily right now. They're putting on tomatoes and cucumbers and pumpkins. They're actually producing stuff. So they're more sensitive. So they're probably realistically every day, every other day, somewhere in there is probably about right. Hanging baskets for sure. it's like 10% humidity with a breeze coming through, they're going to dry out daily.
Mhm.
So they'll need more. So it just depends on what it is. But if you see yellow leaves, that's almost guaranteed it's overwatered right now. Now, if it's dry and crispy leaves on the ends, okay, at the top is burning back, okay, that's underwater. So what's happening now is you just have to be more exact on your watering, over and under.
Mhm.
And so talk to your plants. Gardening is about communing with living, breathing, wild things that we've harvested out of the wilderness, brought into our backyards and tamed them. Now we're training them to adapt to your backyard. Help them. Talk to them. They're like puppy dogs. They're talking to you. You just got to know how to read plant. And if
Mhm.
not, bring a sample in and we'll tell you how to read plant. We can show you how to, I've seen a lot of leaf disease.
Mhm.
So spotting, some mildew, some white coating stuff on the tips of the leaves on geraniums. And so those are all indications of, I'm saying too wet. Another insider tip, probably the most important of all of them, and this is the curse of Phoenix and that whole desert thing. They're sending up bad information to us. Water in the evening. Plants will absorb more of this. Whatever you do up here, do not water in the evening unless you have to. So plants like to be dry going through the evening. Now, when it's 100 degrees at midnight down in Phoenix, okay, you can get away with that. Here, we're going to cool off in the 60s. It cools off.
Mhm.
So the plants will actually take a breather and they're kind of going, oh, finally, it feels so cool. And they're going to take in some moisture then from when you watered in the morning. You really want to water plants during the cool of the morning. Hydrate them before the
Mhm.
heat of the day, and they will do much better. So, Lynn, I hope that helps watering issues and everyone else.
True. And the other caveat I would throw out there is check your irrigation systems.
Yeah, it's true.
So you and I spent multiple hours,
2 weekends now.
2 weekends checking
We
our
got it going.
irrigation. And we found a lot of things, some that were gushers, some that there was no water coming out of, and we're like, oh yeah, that's why that plant was looking
Yeah.
like that. So everybody says, oh, my system's fine.
Yeah.
Actually go out and check your system and make sure it is running.
Yeah, we had several abandoned emitters that were still running,
Mhm.
watering nothing. So that's just a waste. So
Mhm.
we're growing weeds. That's not good. We had some that winter damage. It had cracked some of the main valves. So we ran it a couple times just to
Mhm.
see if we could see where water spots were showing or if we could hear the water running. And so then we find, okay, there's a coupler that's broken. Let's just change that.
Yeah.
Change it out. No more leaks.
Mhm.
So we're not growing weeds. And then we saw some stress in the backyard, not the front yard. The backyard, we got 4 valves in the back, 4 in the front. So we got everything micro irrigated exactly. 2 solenoids. That's that electric black knob at the top of your valve. That's what the clock activates on and off. Well, 2 are bad. So the clock was saying, you're fine. You're looking good. Your plants should be going great right now. It's talking to satellites. It's giving you weather insight. It's communing with your app. And it turns it on. But when the valve doesn't actually activate, that's an analog like roadblock. So your digital stuff's all going, yeah, all good. And then it doesn't activate the valve. Change those out. Boom. Started working right away. Plants look 100% better.
Yep.
And then we had a bad pressure reducing valve. So your drip irrigation, it runs not at house pressure. If you're running directly off a hose bib right in, 50, 60 pounds per square inch into micro irrigation, it's going to blow heads off. It's not going to be true to its emitter head. You need to reduce that pressure typically to 20 to 30 pounds per square inch. So you're cutting that in half. And then everything flows correctly. Well, we had a bad one. It was leaking, causing issues. And that valve, the tree and shrub valve in the backyard, was just not accurate. We're going, what is going on with these plants? We changed it out a couple of weeks ago, and the catalpas are blooming better than ever. I mean, things are just going crazy because they're getting the accurate water.
Right.
The clock said I was right. The system proved the plants told us
You were
the
wrong.
clock is not right. And so we went out and adjusted. And I think it takes a tag team. So
Yeah.
my hearing's not the greatest. Lisa's is
What?
awesome. I'm not a detail person. I'm more like, it's Lisa's detail. She was out there walking around going, I think I found another one. I'm going, okay, I'm bringing my little irrigation box over and changing things out. And it took a little bit.
Mhm.
We got it together. Thanks for the help, babe.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I couldn't have done it without you. Okay, so One question and a couple comments, and we're out of time. Ken and Lisa Lain, the Mountain Gardeners. Be right back after this.
Watters Garden companion plants for June are golden locust, silverberry, Hall's honeysuckle, and portulaca.
Portulaca tolerates blazing sun, where the neon flowers attract butterflies.
Available in red, orange, violet, white, and pink.
Great for containers, rock gardens, between sunny stepping stones, or any hot, dry garden space where nothing else grows.
The brighter, the better.
You'll find the toughest bloomers at Watters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott. So it is time. If you've been waiting to see if that stressed out tree, the dead branches, only thing that's coming up is the suckers at the roots. If the plant is not leafed out by now, it's not going to. It's time to call it. You just got to say it's dead. I don't know what happened. I can tell you what happened. It was real long, warm, dry winter, and plants don't like that. They like to go cold, long, frigid winter, and they just hibernate. If it gets dry, it doesn't matter. I'm sitting here with icy feet. I'm not going anywhere. I'll be here in spring. Let me know in the spring. It didn't do that this last winter. And so a lot of trees got killed. I've never seen anything like it, including my own. I've lost a couple. So I lost one at the garden center. I brought them the big saw because it's a big old robinia or a purple robe locust. Locusts should not die. They shouldn't take that much water, but it got stressed out and it just is not leafing out. Yeah, if I nursed it, maybe I could see some leaves somewhere. We live in America, though. You shouldn't have $1 million house and have this dead thing that's going to struggle for 3 years while it tries to come back, and then you only cut it down then. So just call it. The tree it has not come back now. It's not going to. Hate to tell you that, but that's the way it is. If it has some life, I would get through the first part of the monsoons. So if you're seeing kind of some foliage, I would fertilize it the end of this month. First part of July, pray for rain, have the rain kind of settle the food in, and then I would do one other thing. There's a product here at the garden center called Humic, Humic, humic acid. If you take a compost pile and just break it down to its last possible element, it's humic acid. What humic acid does is it fertilizes the soil. And so the plants want to root deeper into it. Doesn't fertilize the tree, kind of tickles the feet. So the tree wants to root into that soil, feeds the worms, mycorrhizal colonies, a lot of good things. The food actually causes top growth, leaves, foliage, branches, vines, stems, that kind of stuff. So fertilize for the health of the plant, put the humic in for the health of the roots. That's what might get it to come back. If by the middle of August, the tree still doesn't look good, you just get a chainsaw. It's time. You just got to call it and go, it didn't make it. I'm going to cut it down. It's not going to be good. It's not going to look good in my lifetime. So it doesn't belong in my front of my $1 million house. It's just not going to happen. So cut it down. So it's just time. You can, for $100, $200, you have a glorious brand new tree that will take you for years to come. Anyway, that's just kind of just telling you, some of you are holding on too tightly and you got to let go. Just let it go. It's not going to come back. You're going to have to commit to a different kind of tree. So I'd say that for shrubs. I lost a couple shrubs. So they just didn't, if they haven't leafed out by now, it's been warm enough. Even the crepe myrtles, the smoke bush, the trumpet vines are in full bloom right now. They love the heat. They're not waiting. They're coming back. If they have not leafed out by now, they're just not going to. Again, if there's some life left, I'm not talking about at the trunk, suckers. Sometimes the top growth gets killed back. Excuse me, I got allergies going crazy this week. But you'll see the root mass come back. Some suckers coming from the roots. That's not a good tree. That was the original rootstock. And then we grafted a desired tree on top of it. When that desired tree gets killed off, sometimes that root will come back. It's not something you want. And it'll take years for it to before you actually see if it's going to be good or not. It'll be 4 years before you actually see if it's a tree that you desire. Just call it. It's not good. Get rid of it. Dig it up, kill it off, just plant a new one. Again, if you put a beautiful, new, healthy, actively growing tree, whatever it is, a sycamore, a maple, aspens, birch, locusts, oaks, they're all good. You can plant them all now. An apple, a pear, a cherry, plums, apricots, nectarines, they're all good. You can plant one. Just don't be held back by a damaged. This winter was hard on trees. So I'm just giving you permission. It's okay. Something died in your yard. It's not on you. Blame it on nature. I know some of you gardeners go, I can't accept that. Well, you don't have a choice. That's what happened. So you're going to have to kind of move on. So our tree sales have been off the charts. We're bringing an extra truckload this week just because there's so many dead trees. I've never seen anything like it. It's very discouraging, actually. I mean, it's good for sales, but that's not what I want for my friends. I don't want dead things in the yard. I want beautiful, healthy, growing, beautiful things. Discouraging for me. I know it's the same for you. Anyway, we got more in store, but we've got Lisa Watters Lain coming in with her garden segment on just inspiring us with some fun stuff, not just dead things. So we'll be right back after this.
Watters Garden companion plants for June are moonshine yarrow, silverberry, Hall's honeysuckle, and sunburst locust.
Sunburst locust cheerfully shouts, "Hello, spring," with its glowing yellow leaves.
As summer heats up, it settles down to a naturally cool green, only to turn gold again in the autumn.
This Watters exclusive casts a dappled shade, perfect for reading books or sharing an outdoor meal, and impervious to deer.
You'll find the coolest trees here at Watters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott.
And we are back in the studio with Lisa Watters Lain. She comes each week and just shares her garden insider tips. What's going on in her gardens, or what has she seen in the neighborhoods? Just what's the highlight through her eyes of gardening in the central area of Arizona, Central Highlands of Arizona. Mm-hmm. So it is different up here. Welcome, Lisa.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So we've got, this is high desert.
Yes.
It is. So as soon as you come up the hill from Black Canyon City, you go through all that chaos of I-17, you get up the hill and all of a sudden it cools down. Mm-hmm. Plants change, the swallows disappear, and you are in the mountain gardening area. So
that is true.
That's what we're talking about. Central, that's Sedona, Camp Verde, Cottonwood, Prescott Valley, Mayer, you all the way over to Paulden and Chino Valley, down over the hill towards Skull Valley, Hillside, Kirkland. These are all the same. We're all but I'm different. I'm special because I'm in Prescott Valley. Well, I got news for you, Prescott Valley. You're not as special as you think you are. You might just be the same as the rest of us, at least in the gardens. Mm-hmm. So we grow the same stuff. Soils change and the sun direction. So what side of the hill you're viewing change. Right. So soil density. So you get clays and caliche, you got sandy. As you get towards Granite Mountain, you got more sandy, granite-y kind of soil. So many times we'll ask you, where do you live? We're not asking you because we care. We're asking, we're trying to figure out what kind of soil you're dealing with. Yeah. Because we've dealt with thousands of other gardeners. We can help hone you in. When you show us a picture, I don't really care about your backyard fence. I mean, I've seen hundreds. I'm looking at what other plants are growing there so I can companion plant. We're looking at how much sun is showing up on that fence line. Where are the shadows? We're looking at the nuance of that so we can get the right plant and so we can companion plant those things so you'll have more success. We're trying to give you advice. Mm-hmm. Doc, my chest hurts. Why? Well, I'm not quite sure. Let's take a look at this. And there's probably dozens of reasons. The same in your backyard. There's dozens of plants that could fit and not fit. So we're trying to get you where you don't make as many mistakes. Anyway, I go on and on.
Yes, you
Lisa. 2 minutes in.
2.5 minutes in.
It's all
this
you.
Is my segment.
Yeah. How's that for an intro?
I would also say included in that is also microenvironments. Oh, yeah. I mean, in one yard, you could have 4 or 5 different microenvironments. So yeah, it does matter where the sun hits and yada, yada, yada. But that's where professionals can help you.
Well, we is professionals, that's for sure.
So right now we're seeing all the summer shrubs and flowers blooming, and it's pretty. Yeah. We're past that spring. The lilacs are done. The forsythia is done. That spring stuff. And now we're into the summer color, which is actually quite pretty. And there's a
Yeah.
lot of shrubs that do very well here. If you're looking for summer color to mix into your yard. The one that I really, really like is the Rose of Sharon,
Yeah,
or
pretty.
hibiscus in the hibiscus family. Now, it's not the great big monster hibiscus you see in Hawaii, but it's a beautiful shrub. Most of them are going to get 6 to 8 feet, kind of in there,
He's pretty good
and
for
they're
that,
going to
yeah.
bloom with beautiful, long-lasting flowers, and it'll just be full. There's double ones, like this is those of us who can see.
On the camera, there's one that's really fluffy, and there's one that's
Yeah,
more
so
hibiscusy.
the lavender chiffon is a double one, so it almost has more of almost a peony or rose
Yeah.
look to it because it has that full look. The other one is more of a traditional hibiscus look, simple. This one's kind of a dark pink with a red center. Now there's many colors: lavender, white, pinks, dark purples, you name it. There's lots of colors in the hibiscus family. A nice little shrub for here, goes dormant in the wintertime, but takes our cold weather just fine. Comes back in the spring, leaves back out, and blooms, midsummer, pretty much through the end of
Through
summer.
autumn, yeah.
Yeah. So nice shrub for here. People should definitely have one in their yard. Does very well.
At least one, maybe
At least
2 or
one.
3.
The other one I didn't bring a blossom in, but that also is a great continual bloomer through the summer, is a butterfly bush.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are used to seeing those, but they've actually come out with quite a few varieties now. So we're kind of used to that 6 to 8 foot tall, gets rangy, takes over your yard. Well, they've come in with many that are much more behaved. So they get 4x4, 5x5, and even some that are like 2x2, the little Pugster series. So, but they're nice that they don't have a little tiny blossom. They still have that real big blossom on them, so you get a huge show of color. You do have to deadhead them to keep them and fertilize them to keep them blooming, but what a wonderful shrub. And butterflies do like it.
Is that a butterfly bush?
It's
not.
You're
just talking about you brought a chase tree which looks just like it. I'm going to show off the folks on the camera.
But with butterfly bush, the butterflies really do love them, so you're helping with that. So this one I brought in is a chase tree, so it gets 12 to 15 feet tall. Has a bloom very, very similar to a butterfly bush, but it just gets bigger. It gets fuller. It has a purple, almost lilac type bloom to it. Very, very pretty. It's another long blooming tree out there.
Think they've gotten to heaven. You'll have lots of butterflies in this plant.
Just pollinators in general. Yeah. It is a great pollinator plant out there. And very drought hardy. Super animal resistant. Your deer aren't going to be chomping on it.
Guaranteed. We got several personal experience. Deer and javelina, do not bother. Chase tree. It's a great one.
Yeah. Another long one along with that is the desert willow.
Yeah, that's right.
Which are definitely starting to bloom around town right now. I get about the same height.
Yeah.
I like the ones that don't produce the pods. So Timeless Beauty, Bubba, those are Sweet Katie. So they're not producing pods, so they bloom a lot longer. Yeah. And hummingbirds love those.
There are plants that all plants are not the same. So so red tip photinia. Out of all the red tip photinia, there's some that are more disease resistant. They actually are fuller. They have better reds. There's actually different grades. Roses, there are some that are some that get disease that animals just eat like crazy. There's some that take the sun better. And chase tree, there's some plants that grow better. Desert willow, there's some that are actually preferred, where for my friends, I want to guide you into what's better in your yard that you're going to enjoy more for many years to come. Mm-hmm. Yes, it might have a patent on it. You might have to pay a few bucks more, but you will be so much more delight in your backyard just by planting for years to come. You will be happier because it blooms easier without any care, without the disease, without the problems that some things get. Anyway,
definitely worth it.
We go on and on.
Yes.
Yeah.
We go on and on. Other things blooming right now are the crepe myrtles.
Oh, yeah.
Those are they're again 6-ish. They're coming up with new ones that stay smaller now, which is nice. But beautiful bright color, usually pinks and purples and whites and lavenders, and the colors are just very dynamic out the yard, especially when that's very pretty, honey.
Next time,
especially when you're in the heat of summer and you're kind of like, to look out and see those crepe myrtles just shining out there is amazing. So definitely check out the crepe myrtles. So the other one that I brought in, so this is Caryopteris, sometimes called bluebeard or blue mist. This is a shrub, probably 4x4. Another really drought hardy, animal resistant, and when it blooms, it is the whole shrub is
crazy.
in bloom.
It's freakish.
Great pollinator plant, just really pretty. Nice one for your yard, mixes well in with your crepe myrtles and your butterfly bush and things like that.
Summer lover. It just loves the heat.
So this one I brought in is a gardenia. The gardenias
yeah.
So the ones we have at the garden center right now are just in full bloom. And you walk, I just like to go walk over there because it smells so good. And I love gardenias. So yeah, you can just come in and just smell the gardenia. Bring your coffee,
that
your
one
iced tea.
And the Daphne, where they're kind of side by side.
Yeah.
You're wondering, where's that smell coming from? It's from both of them.
Right.
So Daphne and gardenias are some of the strongest fragrant plants. In the
a little bit more of a shade plant, but they do nicely here. And then I brought in just a couple of real quick annuals. So annuals, one season, one and done, but they just bloom their little hearts out for that. Great for containers. This one's a penta. This is a great butterfly attractor. Excellent, excellent. And then, of course, lantana. Who doesn't love the heat more than a lantana?
I know, that's crazy.
I don't know, but look at the color, pinks and yellows, and just do wonderful in containers and brighten those pots.
We have both. We've got up at the elevation, we've got, all the lantanas are perennial down in Phoenix. Down up here, only a few. So we've got the perennial varieties. They come back every year. And we've got these fancy, bright colored ones. We got both. And we've got them separated so we can help you grow them better, stronger. Anyway, Lisa, thank you for the summer flowers that'll just shine in your yard. Be right back after this.
Watters Garden companion plants for June are golden locust, silverberry, Hall's honeysuckle, and moonshine yarrow.
Moonshine yarrow is a fuss-free, heat-loving perennial with large clusters of canary yellow flowers held above a ferny foliage. It's just stunning.
Mountain tough, you can't kill this perennial that only blooms better year after year.
Javelina and rabbit detest the summer blooms.
You'll find moonshine yarrow for a limited time at Watters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott.
So let me just give you some ideas on fast-growing vines. The vines are just glorious right now. The honeysuckles have been in bloom for well over a month. I mean, well over. Trumpet vines, which is basically a hummingbird. It's like a hummingbird magnet. It's a honeysuckle on steroids. Big red. I guess it can be red, orange, or yellow. There's 3 colors. But trumpet vine is very aggressive. Grows too fast for some spaces. But boy, if you want to cover a hillside, ground covers, an arbor, pergola, that's a good one. Covered in red flowers, deep-throated red flowers. Hummingbird's going to love you. Thought I'd cover maybe some hummingbird, not hummingbird. Let's go over just the best vines for here. So number 1 seller, by far, no question, is Hall's honeysuckle. That's the one with the yellow flower. You can take the stamen out and suck on it. It's real sweet tasting. We use it for erosion control, for up hillsides, up fences, pergolas, arbors. It's beautiful. It's one of the few plants that blooms like that and is evergreen, mostly. If it gets a real cold winter, maybe it can lose some of its foliage. So semi evergreen. This last winter, solid evergreen. The reason it's number 1 seller is because you can grow it anywhere, up as your ground cover, up walls, wherever you want it. Driveways washing away, plant a honeysuckle. It'll just solid, just hold it right in place. It's a good one for that. And mainly, animals don't eat it. So javelina and rabbits and deer, and they just don't bother it. And so it's a good, strong one. The ones that's like it, I mentioned trumpet vine. That one grows much faster. It'll easily grow, 15, 20 feet. It really gets going. So it will take a 8-foot panel of fencing in a season, cover it in red flowers. It, again, same thing. Hummingbirds love it. Animals don't eat it. It is deciduous. That is, it will lose its leaves in the winter. So it doesn't look like much in the winter. Boy, is it glorious right now. Oh my goodness. It's beautiful. Another one that's sort of like that, that's a native. There's two natives. So trumpet vines we use in xeriscape, kind of low maintenance, low water areas. Silver lace vine, equal, super tough. Once you can't kill this thing. Animals don't eat it. It's well, how do you describe it over the airwaves? It's got a lacier leaf to it. Has a white flower, kind of a lacy white flower, kind of like a bridal wreath flower that covers it from now through the end of the year, through call it Thanksgiving. It's just a good, strong, drought hardy plant. The one that's most famous in Arizona, at least, is the Virginia creeper. You'll see this wild up in the Bradshaws, kind of the mountains around us. You'll see this 5-leafed, kind of green, 5, I don't know, not leafed, but 5-petal leaf. It doesn't really flower. What it does, it's got a real heavy rootstock, kind of like it's got like potatoes at the base of it, so it holds moisture. So this thing is super drought hardy. Its claim to fame is in the fall of the year, it turns bright fire engine red, and just really striking red. Good, strong. If you want, once you get established, I mean, don't care for it. It just grows by itself. It's that kind of vine, a true native. There's a whole bunch of, I started with honeysuckle. There's a whole bunch of different varieties of honeysuckle. I mentioned Hall's, number one, but honeysuckle as a whole, if you include all the varieties, is definitely the number one. Because there's so many colors, we break it up some. So there's lemonade, there's reds, there's yellows, there's whites, there's all types, and all of them are equally as hardy. The Hall's is more evergreeny. It's one that holds its foliage the best. I mean, the red is much more striking. I mean, whoa, that's red honeysuckle. That's pretty cool. Loses its leaves. My allergies are just going, something bloomed. Ragweed or something went off. It's not juniper. Something else is out there. Of course, I'm looking at my wildflowers from the studio. They're beautiful. I got roadrunners out there. Quail are out there. I mean, it's magical, but there's a mixture of everything out there, which is why all the wildlife's out there. But I kind of react to it every once in a while. Let me take a sip of soda here. So vines, talking about vines. Of course, number one in the English garden are climbing roses. They're pretty easy to grow, really. They aren't as sophisticated. They're easier to grow than a hybrid tea rose or your long stem roses because you're letting them grow. You don't cut them back so hard. You might trim them back to their trellis or trim them back to the pergola or over the arbor, but that's about it. Their main thing is about fertilizing. It takes a lot of energy to get that cane to grow up. Here's the insider secret. Found this out. I was farming down in Skull Valley. That's where we raised our family. It's about 15 miles north of Prescott. Beautiful farm country, a beautiful growing country. And so I grew, but a lot of barbed wire. Okay, too much. Barbed wire is not very pretty. Unless you're a rancher. Okay, take that back. Ranchers, barbed wire is a beautiful thing, but you kind of want to beautify it sometimes. And so I planted some climbing roses from the barn up to the house, down the barbed wire fence, and it was magnificent. Each one would grow maybe 8 feet in either direction. And here's the secret. They're going to put all their energy into those new tendrils coming out, those new rose canes. When they get to the size that you want, just take the end, bend it towards the ground, and tie it. Just don't let it do its own thing. Just tie it to the ground. As soon as you do that, the entire top of that cane will load up with hundreds of flowers. It's literally amazing. So if you're going up and down a fence, that's a little insider tip I can give you, personal experience. And it works for more than just barbed wire fence. It worked for that block, chain link, whatever. And so for barbed wire, it's typically about 4 feet high. So I'd let it grow up about I don't know, head high or so, and then force it down either side of the chain link. I had a honeysuckle that way. I mean, it just had a smattering of stuff that was quite beautiful, stunning actually. And so you can do the same thing. And so that's an insider tip on roses. Now, clematis.
I think most folks don't know that it looks so delicate. They're thinking clematis. Well, I can't grow that. Anyone can grow clematis. It's the easiest one of them all. In fact, frequently I'll tell folks, take something boring like a Virginia creeper, a Boston ivy, a honeysuckle, and you just want big flowers, not just some of those small flowers. Frequently I'll tell them, why don't you plant two? Plant the honeysuckle. It's got the evergreen. It's got the hardiness. Animals don't eat it. And plant a clematis right next to it, which has kind of light foliage, but great big flowers. Now those great big clematis flowers, reds and purples and whites and pinks, and there's all kinds of colors. They're all in bloom right now. You can plant them right now, and those flowers will pop in between, pop through some of the other vines. You can plant them companion-wise with each other's, and you get the flowers of the clematis, but you get the foliage of akebia or trumpet vine or some of these other, honeysuckles, Boston ivy. All of them are really good growers for here. You'll find a tremendous selection. The beauty right now, plants are coming in. We're still getting truckloads, and they're fully matured. So earlier in spring, February, March, and April, we just cut them back. We knew they were going to grow. They've got a massive root structure. We know they're going to take off, but they still look kind of small. So the grasses were cut back. They weren't. Now they're coming in. Like I just had some pampas grass. They are magnificent. In another month, they'll be in bloom. Well, now so you're seeing the plants are more mature now than they were in spring. So they're bigger. So they're the same price, just bigger. And you got more of that summer selection. So lots of honeysuckle, lots of trumpet vines, all three colors, lots of crepe myrtles, lots of hibiscus, lots of clematis, lots of colors to choose from. And they're all more mature than they were back in the spring. That's what it pays to shop your garden centers seasonally, not just spring, but hit them also in the summer, in the fall, in the winter. You can see what they all look like in those seasons. Okay, we got more. We're going to wrap this thing up. We'll be right back, though, after this.
Watters Garden companion plants for June are moonshine yarrow, silverberry, Hall's honeysuckle, and sunburst locust.
Sunburst locust cheerfully shouts, "Hello, spring," with its glowing yellow leaves.
As summer heats up, it settles down to a naturally cool green, only to turn gold again in the autumn.
This Watters exclusive casts a dappled shade, perfect for reading books or sharing an outdoor meal, and impervious to deer.
You'll find the coolest trees here at Watters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott.
We were talking about trees throughout the show, and fruit trees specifically a couple times. And we have this weekend a free garden class on Saturday at 9:30. Please join us. It'll be in the back greenhouse here at Watters Garden Center. And Chris Arthur, who's my right-hand person, he's the foremost expert on all things trees, but specifically fruit trees. He's really good. He tracks all the farms. He knows where everything is, what's a companion, what pollinates what. And he's going to teach the class this weekend. Chris Arthur is horticulturalist extraordinaire. He knows stuff. And he'll give you the insider scoop on what you want to start with, which ones, how to get the most out of it. And it's a good time to plant. Just remember, you should stake them, because if a tree starts leaning to the northeast and it falls over because it loaded up with 8 bushels of apples, which is very possible, you'll want to make sure that that structure is straight up and down, so that weight is evenly distributed over the whole trunk of the tree. That's an insider tip. Also, right now, if you are looking at fruit trees, I don't want to steal some of Chris's thunder, but here's a tease. Have you come in and join us this Saturday, 9:30, or check out the podcast or the YouTube stream. We actually stream those live on our Watters Garden Center garden channel. Here, if you're looking for us, you can find it Facebook, LinkedIn. It's streamed everywhere. Insider tip: right now, you're seeing apples, pears. What else? Peaches. They got lots of like apples. You'll have 5 or 6 apples on the end of this cluster. You can't keep all of those on there. You have to make a hard call and go, I need only 2. The rest of you have to go. And now's a good time to be thumb pruning or thinning the apples. they tend to self-thin some. We call it June drop. So June is, they tend to get hot and they start dropping themselves, but you need to help them. What happens is all that energy coming up from the roots, all that water, food, and all the goodness going into those fruits, there's not enough goodness to go in 6 of them. And so it divides it up. So all you end up with are lots of little tiny pithy, plums, peaches, apricots, nectarines, pears. And so if you thin some of those, now all that energy goes into the ones remaining, and you get these gigantic fruits left on the trees. That's an insider tip. I can tell you personal experience, and now is the time. When you start seeing that first June kind of drop, do it then. Just go out and go, I'm going to help you. Take your bucket and just start thinning. Take half of the fruit off that tree. Be brutal on it, because the remaining ones will be gigantic. It's a real game changer. And then I would say it's good if you haven't fertilized them since March. Now I would say take that all-purpose fruit and vegetable food. We have a pelletized organic food that we use. We make it here, and we've bumped it with a whole lot of calcium. And calcium is what brings out all that flavor, the size of the fruit. So it's 6, 4, 4, 7. It actually has more calcium than it does nitrogen, phosphorus, or potash, because we know you're going to struggle. Your tomatoes, if you don't give it enough calcium, you're going to have this blackened spot to it. Well, that same exact thing can happen to your squash, which can happen to your eggplants, which can happen to your peaches, which can happen to your apples, which can happen to your fruiting and vegetable. So it's a fruit and vegetable food. Now's a good time to be fertilized. It's organic. So I know the internet says don't fertilize while it's got food, while it's setting fruit. That's not organic fertilizer. People don't know how to use that. So I get so frustrated what I see as suggestions or solid advice. I'm going, that's stupid. That's not true. Yet they spew it out there. And now AI is helping them compound it. Oh, that'll help. Anyway, come see us at Watters Garden Center. We can help you put a fruit tree in, or come to the free classes this weekend.
Watters Garden companion plants for June are golden locust, moonshine yarrow, Hall's honeysuckle, and gilt-edged silverberry.
Gilded-edge silverberry grows head-high with bright gold and blue leaves that screens out the most obnoxious neighbors while standing up to blistering heat and wind.
The super sweet flowers are utterly animal-proof. Even javelina and deer don't like the taste of this local shrub.
You'll find the best evergreen natives at Watters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott. For a more fruitful garden, increased success in the landscape that just feels better, then tune in daily to the Mountain Gardener podcast. Subscribe through your favorite podcast streamer or visit wattersgardencenter.com. Better yet, visit me directly right here at Watters Garden Center. Thanks for tuning in.